By now you've seen the latest episode of The Walking Dead, and you're probably in one of two camps. Those who loved the artistic direction of the episode, and those that hated it. I feel this episode was a great tribute to Tyrese, and a fantastic way to see him go. He was too gentle, too sensitive for a post-apocalyptic world, and staying in it would only hurt him and possibly hurt those he needed to protect him when he couldn't get the grittier jobs done. The use of the radio to tell his life story was amazing, along with the usage of old past characters. Some people feel that the broadcasts we heard were British broadcasts about Rwanda and all the terrible things that happened there. Some people feel like it was just talking about past events of what happened to Tyrese in the group, and then other people think that it was a combination of news that he heard as a child growing up mixed in with things that he had experienced going with the group. The main things that kind of stand out are, the radio goes, there's reports of cannibalism, and that could either be Terminus, or that could be in Rwanda, or any other starving nation hearing over the radio. There was mention of revenge crimes, including hacking people, I believe, to death, which again could be the Terminus group, but in this case it would be them being hacked to death in the church. There was talk about breaking down prisons, which was probably the governor's assault on the prison, mutilation of children, which would have been Lizzie and Micah, or again Rwanda. Something about young mothers in an endless war, which could be about Lori and all other pregnant women that lost their kids, or again going to Rwanda. And then I think the final thing that I heard was something about setting fire to innocents, and that could go all the way back to Carol torching the bodies of Karen and the others when she was worried about the illness spreading. So I really think that the radio aided in Tyrese letting go. The world was still as bloody and terrible as it was when he was a child listening to the radio. And he was kind of like, what's the point? He was done, and finally he just wanted to turn the radio off and just get it over with. He made the choice to die, and I'm glad that he finally found peace and was able to move on. But, them stopping the car and pulling him out and just him on the side of the road and Michonne with the katana was so terrible and emotional. And I liked Tyrese's death, regardless of whether you hated the artistic thing. We keep seeing these villains and bad people taking the groups out, and the walkers seem like a minor nuisance at this time, which I agree to a certain extent they should. They live lives that are so much more dangerous and so long that you become accustomed to dealing with the walkers. But that shouldn't mean that accidents don't happen. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to let your guard down. And in a post-apocalyptic world, a lot of deaths are going to be meaningless. A veteran zombie killer gets distracted for 1 second or makes a seemingly simple and significant choice, and it's all over. And let's be honest, Tyrese getting caught up looking at pictures of kids and then dying from the distraction seems a likely way he'd go. And I think we need more insignificant deaths like Tyrese, not a blaze of glory. Glenn pops his head around a building or a zombie's right there and gets him before he can react. We need more of this insignificant, just, they're gone, they're dead, that's it, just like real life. And it would happen a lot more in the post-apocalyptic world. Some things that I thought were weird or off about this episode. When Tyrese was hallucinating, why didn't he see Karen? I thought he really loved her and her death devastated him. Why wasn't his father there, his siblings, family? I get that it was only recent things that happened to him, but I feel like Karen probably would have been there. And am I the only one that doesn't really like Noah? They recently killed 2, maybe 3, depending on who you liked, characters that were really awesome. And I feel like they're replacing them with a weak character that I just don't care about, and I'm not really sure how they can make me care about Noah. I don't feel like they have enough to make Noah likable so that when he does die, we're like, oh, alright, bye Noah. And finally, I think the episode did drag a bit with Tyrese. I'm happy they're trying new ways of shooting and getting creative, and I really did like his send-off a lot. But I don't think they needed to take the entire episode. I think that could have been something where maybe the first half of it happened, and then afterwards was just dealing with the chaos and everything that came along with it, and deciding what they were going to do. I'm also wondering about the wolves. Not far warning. Are these actual wolves? We do see wild dogs in the promo for the next season. Are these a gang that call themselves, or are called wolves, hence the W carved in their head? Are they a small raider groups like we see in the comics? Or are they actually weaponized wolves shooting guns and driving tanks? Here are my questions after this episode. How do you think Sasha is going to fare at this point? She's lost her brother and her lover. She's probably heading towards that cold, detached version of herself she was just after they were forced out of the prison. Are members of the group losing their humanity at a faster rate? Is this world tearing away layers so quickly that cold, detached people are the only thing left? How will Abraham take wanting to actually head to DC again? Do you think after Eugene's lie, everyone is really going to be on board for this? Are we going to see more fractures in the group being caused because of this? When we saw the wolves not far, is that actual wolves or a group of raiders? Are there small groups of raiders we saw in the comics going to have a bigger part in the show as they attack the group? Do you think Judith is next? During Tyrese dying, we heard baby cries and cuts to a happy Judith. Tyrese was also told, "I told you it'd be you and the kid." So maybe there's a hint that Judith is going to go by the end of the season. And finally, when Tyrese was looking at photos of Noah's family, he looked interested and then angry or confused as he looked at the twins. Do you think the change in expression was because of him realizing that they only found one twin and the other could be there, but then he realized it too late? Or do you think he's angry that these people once had a peaceful life and now they're dead and he has yet another person, Noah, grieving? So you can put your thoughts below and make sure you like and subscribe.